Hello, everybody. My name is Ratnos, and Season 4 is starting soon, but just before it does, wanted to go over my Season 3 recap over here on Raider.io. So if you haven't seen this, it's actually pretty easy to just make this on Raider.io. You go to this community tab, click on your Shadowlands Season 3 recap, and you just scroll down, click generate, and you gotta link your BattleNet as well for it to work. But it's a pretty cool little feature that shows you a lot of interesting stats about the season, and I like to always make a quick video, just go through it for me, and talk about how the season went. If you're interested as well, over on the GG WoW YouTube channel, a bunch of the people there. I actually was busy during the time they were recording it, but a bunch of the other people over on the GG WoW team did one where they were all kind of talking with each other as they were looking through this. So if you're interested in this sort of content, that's another thing to check out. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. So to start off, gotta catch them all. Throughout the season, I've grouped with a total of 35 different specs. There are 36 in the game right now. There will be 38 in Dragonflight, 34 in Raids, and 35 in M+. So I played with everything in M+, except for Prot Warrior. And notably, I've done keys as a Prot Warrior as well, so I just haven't played with one. But I've tanked most of the keys that I've done this season. I DPS'd a few, but yeah, it didn't end up getting to play alongside a Prot Warrior in keys. We can see Demo Lock. Played with obviously a ton of those from especially early in the season in Raid. We would have multiple demo locks. You clear multiple bosses on multiple difficulties. But even more recently, when a lot of Warlocks have switched to Destro, two of them in my guild have generally been staying demo on most fights. So seen a lot of demo locks. Obviously a ton of Balance Druid as well. Fury Warrior entirely from Raid pretty much. Sub Rogue, I think also mostly from Raid, as with Fire Mage. Yeah, Holy Priest, a good mix everywhere. And as we start kind of getting down here, Feral Druid, 167 times I've grouped with Feral Druids. There's actually 4 people in my guilds that play Feral when they can get away with it at different times in Raid, and that's almost all of where these have come from. Is a couple of them have Feral alts, a couple Moonkins sneak their characters in as Feral sometimes. One of our healers, inexplicably, is really good at Feral Druid. He's not even a Resto Druid, like a Disc Priest, and just happens to also be great at Feral Druid. And I don't know if he played any of it this tier. Last tier he did during some farm. So yeah, it's surprising to see this one so high up. Been playing a little bit with Outlaw recently, but only a little bit, I guess, compared to the whole time in the season. So yeah, that's how my things I've looked or people I've grouped with has gone. Gear evolution, you can see, got most of my gear fairly early in the season. This was the week we killed Jailer here, so I was at level 275, 274, and now my DK is up at 279. Early in the season, I thought I was going to main Paladin, so you can see for a few weeks, I was kind of gearing the Paladin and the DK before the DK started taking things away here. My biggest non-legendary gear upgrade of the season, 58 eye levels recently on my Monk, actually, was upgrading a 220 file into a 278. So Leah's Secret Technique. This stat always, for me, is some rat character upgrading some tremendously old item into something new and good. Okay, raid bosses defeated. 277 of them taken care of. 135 on Mythic, 89 on Heroic, 53 on Normal. That's more normal bosses than usual because of tier. You can see, especially these tier bosses, right? Look at the size of the normal bar. We would get a normal lockout and just farm the 4 tier or the 5 tier bosses on normal for, I think we did that for 5 weeks. Including a lot of those were split runs. Same with Heroic. You can see on Heroic, Anduin 14 Heroic kills compared to Dosegni, Zymox, Skolex 5 each, right? So a lot of you can see it right here on this where the tier bosses begin. You can also see on Prototype Pantheon a little bit extra as well because of the trinkets from that boss, and then a lot less of these 3 skippable bosses that you can just unlock the Anduin skip and skip past. And also very little, 1 Jailer normal kill. Don't remember when I did that. 8 Mythic and 10 Heroic Jailer as well. 0 Gavels all season. All of the Mythic and Heroic Jailer kills were done on my DK that could loot a Gavel. 0 all season, including from the vault as well. So looking forward to the deterministic loot system next season. And yeah. Okay. Never forget your first time. Total live tracked pulls for first boss kill on each difficulty. So 5 pulls of Mythic Vigilant Guardian, 13 on Skolex, 9 on Zymox, 17 on Dosegni, 47 on Prototype Pantheon, 47 on Lehuvim as well, 99 on Halandras. I'm pretty sure we did more than 99 on Halandras, so I think this might be missing some. 161 on Anduin. I think we also did more than that there. 10 on Lord's Dread. That's true. That we killed it on our 10th pull. Rygalon 70. That's also roughly true. Plus or minus 5 pulls, I think. And 257 on Jailer. That's also pretty close to accurate. So, yeah, you can see the difficulty curve of this tier. Definitely pretty steep compared to a lot of previous tiers. A lot of hard bosses in there. Even Anduin Heroic, 65 pulls before we killed it. I don't remember it being that many, but I guess maybe it was really hard week 1 on Heroic, and I guess we were trying to split it pretty early. I think we did kill it in splits as well. I'm not 100% sure. That's always the thing about Heroic bosses. Like Sylvanas, for instance, we couldn't split Sylvanas. We had to just do it with mains. But I think with Anduin we were able to split it even on the first week, which was really nice. Which boss did I have the closest wipe before first kill? Mythic Anduin Rin with 0.21% health remaining. That's actually not accurate if you count the heroic bosses. We had a heroic Anduin pull where he was at 600 health when he reset and wiped, so it was like 0.0001% health, but I don't know if maybe that pull wasn't tracked for some reason, or maybe this is only counting the highest difficulty. Raid progress duration. Took me 102 days and 15 raid resets to clear the raid on normal. I guess that's when I happened to go and kill the jailer. Heroic we killed Heroic Jailer on the first week that the Heroic Jailer was available on, which was the second week of the Heroic being open. And Mythic 7 raid resets, 38 days. Pretty happy with that. That was it wasn't actually much longer than it took us to kill Sylvanas, but Sylvanas was a much quicker tier for most guilds than Sepulcher, but we kind of sucked that tier and kind of owned this tier, so yeah, 7 raid resets for Mythic Jailer. Pretty solid, I think. 39 days to complete Mythic Sepulcher. Top 3 bosses by live time on them. Spent a little more than a day of my life in Mythic Jailer live pulls. 20 hours on Anduin, and then it drops real quick to Prototype Pantheon. I believe that's because not all the Halandras pulls were being tracked, though, for some reason, because, again, pretty sure we spent at least like 150 on that boss. Mythic Plus key progression. Now, this is a graph that actually a lot of people I know have graphs that look kind of like this. You can see early in the season, doing some 16, 17, 19 the first few weeks, 23s. So that there was around one of these weeks, you could get the, if you had 3,000 score, you could get the 278 conduits. So I did that, and that meant doing like a bunch of 22s, 23s, and stuff. But then after that, no, I wasn't really pushing any keys. You see, once we got to the week where we killed Jailer, didn't even do keys for a few weeks. Come back in, just doing some friend keys, some low keys, some weekly alt keys, and then recently I've been doing a little bit more actual keystone, time to 24, time to 25, finally, right at the end of the season, but not a season where I did a serious amount of key pushing, aside from for that 3,000 score, sprinting to that early season for the conduit upgrades. Altaholic, I've run Mythic Plus on a total of 6 classes and 12 specs. Most run spec, Blood Decay, 46 runs, 43 on Prot Paladin, again, most of those early season. 17 on Vengeance, actually a very fun spec. 15 on Windwalker, the spec I've DPS'd on the most, and 14 on Frost Decay, which is not a spec I ever really got good at this season, so really inted a lot of groups on that thing. Brewmaster, 13 runs. That I think has gone up recently. I don't know when the cutoff for this data was, because I'm pretty sure I've done more than 13 on Brew. That, like the 25 and stuff that I've done have been on Brew, although maybe I've only done 13 total runs on it. It certainly feels like more. 12 on Havoc, 3 on Ret, 3 on Prot, 3 on Guardian, 2 on Arms, and 1 extremely accursed run on Fury, where I was wearing a Prot Legendary, and I was talking to like a Fury Warrior main in my guild who was on a different alt in that run. And I was like, what is this proc I'm getting whenever I'm charging? And it turns out it was a Shield Slam proc, because I was wearing the Shield Slam Intervene Charge Legendary when I was playing Fury. Not a good Legendary for Fury. That was not a good play. Top M Plus comp. this season has been Prot Pally. That's been me, I think. Resto, Ellie, Outlaw, Windwalker. Actually, no. I think I was the Windwalker in this comp. Yeah. How does this compare to season's most popular comps? You can see a lot of Prot Pallies in low keys, a lot of Resto Shamans, and then once you start getting to the high keys, the Destro Serve, Blood DK, Holy Priest, Windwalker, unsurprisingly, becomes by far the meta-est comp. Yeah, you can see. Ends up being way more runs than... Actually, this doesn't even tell you how many runs were with this comp. It just tells you how many were with the second top comp. Oh, no, it does. Okay, 19,000 with this comp, 16,000 with this comp, but with a Resto Shaman. And then we drop down to below 10,000 if you swap out the Windwalker for a Rogue. Very interesting, yeah. Okay, most run dungeons. Mists. Did a lot of Mist runs. Mostly in time as well. Most of my dungeons have been mostly in time, except for Solia's Gambit. Only 56% of my Solia's Gambit runs have been in time, so Murloc area, I think, has been the culprit, although maybe it's actually been Last Boss that's been the culprit. This is also, I mean, obviously, like, sometimes you 3-chest this dungeon, sometimes you deplete it. I don't know how much that lines up with other people's experience. Yeah, a lot of... Timed almost all my Plague Falls. Plague Fall's a very friendly timer, though, for, like, wipes, right? If you wipe in Plague Fall, you usually still have enough time to beat the dungeon. Also, I'd caution too much against reading into the in-time percent here, because, like, this doesn't track when you deplete the key and hearth out. It only tracks when you deplete the key and then choose to finish the key, which is something usually I'll do, because usually my groups are, like, looking for vault completion and, like, items and stuff. This season has been true, so in groups where that stops being true, where you're, like, trying to push IO, often you'll just hearth out, and it makes it look like more of your runs are in time. Obviously, eventually, if you keep pushing, you're always going to get to a spot where it's 50-50, right? 50% of the time you time the key and it goes up, and 50% of the time you deplete the key and it goes down, and, like, you do slightly above 50 and your key level is going to go up, but obviously that can't go up forever, right? So once you reach your ceiling, that you either have a win rate of 50% or you're, like, manually depleting your keys and Ouroboros before you start them. Closest key this season, 0.7 under on a Mists. This is a statistic that doesn't actually make me feel alive anymore, because in BFA I had a 0.001 under Siege of Borealis, where I missed one of the cannon shots right at the end and then still hit it again afterwards, and everybody thought we depleted, but we got it again 0.001 seconds under time. So yeah, 0.7 no longer makes me feel alive. Nothing makes me feel alive in this stat slot anymore. Oh, there's the run. Oops. Okay. I inted by clicking on that thing. Keep scrolling down. Okay. Yeah. And okay, yeah, so I ran a lot of Mists, not a lot of Sanguine Depths or Streets. This actually lines up with my expectations. Like, I think these keys, not so much I avoided them, but I tended to be in groups that avoided these keys, that didn't like these dungeons very much. All right, and then IO score evolution. Again, you can see this actually is account-wide IO, so you can see account-wide IO of 3,300. Wow. I don't have any characters that are, like, I have 2 characters at 3K, basically. But if you combined their dungeons, it would be 3,300, I guess. And then, yeah, here was the sprint to 3K, right, around the week that you could buy the conduits with that. Run 172 dungeons this season, 3 days worth of M+. This is a lot less than a lot of the BFA seasons, and I think probably a lot less than I'll play in Season 4, although I'm not 100% sure. To watch the Warcraft movie 42.6 times, which is 41.6 times more than I've actually watched the Warcraft movie. I actually didn't. It wasn't a bad movie, though. Yeah, M+ buddies, share your recaps, so if you're interested, generate your own one over on the Raider.io site. Cool thing to do. Hope you enjoyed this video. Little trip down my memory lane. Yeah, I like making these just so that in a couple years' time I can come back and remember what I was doing in each of the seasons. So, yeah. Anyways, cool little feature over on Raider.io. Link in the description to both this, where you can go to generate this, and also to the GG WoW video where they were all talking about their recaps as well. Looking forward to Season 4. We'll see what cool statistics we can make show up in this thing for then. Hopefully I'll play with more specs, play as more specs maybe. Although, kind of not sure if I want to play as more specs next season because of the way that I feel like I really want to raid and get my deterministic raid items on any characters I do keys on. So maybe I'll just focus a lot on whichever characters I can actually sneak into raid. We'll see how many of those I end up being able to do. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.